So here's a video on changing the tire out in 2022 Honda Civic. So first you want to get your spare tire out the trunk. You'll pick up the carpet in the trunk. You'll unscrew this nut here, plastic nut that's on your spare tire. This should come with the car. So after you do that, on top of the tire there's this plastic container here that holds your jack, and it holds another metal tool there you use to lift up and lift down the car. Also you have your crowbar here that comes in there. First you want to break your lug nuts, so put your crowbar on the lug nut and you'll go lefty loosey, righty tighty. So you'll go left. You have to put some body weight into it to break your nuts here, because once you jack the tire up, there's nothing keeping the tire from spinning. That's why you just break your nuts to here before you jack the car up. So you also have to, there's a lock nut on there. There should be a bag with a lock nut bolt in your glove compartment. A lot of vehicles come with this now, so you'll need this to take that special nut off. So you put that, line it up, and then your crowbar will go on the back of this special nut here, and you should be able to loop. Now we have these bolts loose. Now we have to place the jack under the car. There are two locations, special locations I'm pointing to here, where the jack will go up against. These are reinforced, and you use these areas to jack the car up on. See that metal deal coming down there, that metal plate? Line that up, and that's what you jack up on there. The other spots are not reinforced under the car, so there is a special place to put this jack. Also, you want to make sure this jack is level, on level ground. If you're on the side of the road, 9 times out of 10 the road may be uneven, so these jacks can be a bit dangerous if they tilt over or car passes, etc. So I recommend getting a regular jack in case you ever need to change your tire. In the front here, that's the other mounting. So you have a mounting point in the back and a mounting point in the front. Determine if you have a back flat tire or a front flat tire. Here I'll show you how to wind up the jack. So you have your turning tool and your crowbar. There's a hole in the crowbar that turning tool goes into. So once you put that through that hole, now you can twist this, and you use this to raise the car up quicker. Like so. Here we go. So you can see the car is lifting up, and we already loosened the bolts on the tire. Watch here, I'm going to start turning a little faster. Readjust the camera here. Okay, let's see if we can get it going at a good speed. There we go. Instead of turning it by hand, you won't be able to turn it by hand once enough weight gets on the jack. So you'll have to use some type of tool where you can put some torsion or some leverage on to get that to turn. So you need those two tools there. There we go. So the car is rising up. We have it on that special mounting plate in the back of the car. And then we want to make sure we get it high enough. If it's not high enough, the lug nuts won't line up with your spare tire. Remember, your spare dummy tire has air in it, so the tire is a bit higher than your flat tire now. So you have to make sure you get this up pretty high, and then once it's up high enough, you can put the dummy tire in front and match and see if you have your holes well lined up. Let's see, we're going to do that in just a bit. So here you can see we have some space from the flat tire on the bottom and the ground. So that should be high enough. So now I want to get my dummy tire. See how that black part pokes out? That's the part that goes out. There. Make sure you put it on the right side. And I'm just lining up to make sure I have it high enough, and I can see that it's higher than the hole, so it's perfect. I'll have to lift up a little bit to get it on. Now I have to remove my tire. So the tire may not come off easy. We'll see in a little bit once we take these nuts completely off. So finish take your nuts off. Right now they're already loosened, so we can just pull them off. Here. One at a time. As we go, make sure you keep those in a place where they won't roll off. And make sure you keep a good distance from the car. With that particular jack, you don't want to be underneath the car, have your leg or your foot underneath the car, because that jack can tip over and fall down. You don't have any stands underneath the car or anything, so make sure you stay a good distance from the car. I have seen that jack tip over before, actually many times, especially not being on the grass, or that's a really dangerous spot. See here, it doesn't just come off because it's a little bit kind of sealed to that rim. You just have to wiggle it really good. It will come off like that. So if you pull and you have all the screws off and it's not coming off, wiggle it real hard and pull. It will come off, or kick it a bit, but not too hard, or you make the jack fall. So that rim will come off. All right, now it's time to put it. Oh, let's see what we had. Oh, really bad tire. It was wearing pretty bad. It was time to change it anyway, and I had a nail in it. So we're gonna put this on so we can go to the tire shop and replace that tire, and then I can put it back on myself, or have the tire shop do it. So here, you see we have enough height on the bottom so that the bottom doesn't rub against the concrete when we put the spare tire on. So now what I want to do is tighten the nuts on there, get it real snug, and hand tighten the nuts on the tire, because we don't want it to be wobbly. So we're going to tighten it as much as we can before we put the tire down, and retighten it once it's on the ground. So very important that second step there, we do the retighten. So here we go. One more bolt here. That's the special lug nut. Put that on here. Make sure that you bring the lug nut that goes on top of that. You put that back in your glove compartment, because the tire shop will need that to take that tire off. Okay, now everything is hand tightened. I'm just gonna snug it up a little bit. You see the tire turns. There's nothing from stopping the tire from turning. So I just snug it up. Make sure just the tire is really good against the rim before I put it down, because I don't want it to be crooked when it comes down. Okay, now you can see why I loosened the bolts before I picked up the car, because had I tried to do it, the tire would have spun, and you'd have to try to figure out, hey, do I need to put the parking brake on or something to stop this tire from spinning. Now I can lower the car down. Now that I have the spare tire on and the bolt. Normally changing these tires out won't take you more than probably about 20 minutes or so. So doesn't take you long to do it. Just make sure that you have your lug wrench and a jack. And then here you can see how these tools help you to really lower the car down quickly, or raise the height quickly as well. So the weight of the car is coming down on the spare tire. See there. Now that the weight of the car is off of the jack, I can just lower it by hand. So I'm going to lower it all the way down. And then I'm going to save it back after I tighten up the nuts. So now you want to put some body weight on there and tighten the nuts up real good. And after you tighten them all up, retighten them again and make sure that it's tight a second time. Use a special nut to tighten that one. And then when you tighten it, it'll stop. It'll stop getting tight. That's when you know it's snug. But you also want to put some body weight on it. So kind of put your body weight, press down on it to make sure you have enough torsion and pressure on it to get a good tightness on the bolt. Make sure it's on there really well. Make sure you save that special bolt. Put it back in your bag. Let's save this. Put our lug wrench back. Put our other two back here. I'm gonna save our bolts. And that's it.